Kia ora, hello, Paul Brennan, Bring Our Birds Home. It is Wednesday, the 24th of January, time for a video update. I've been in Auckland Monday, Tuesday for a meeting which could turn out to be a game changer for the Bring Our Birds Home campaign. I'll report on what I can about that in just a moment. But first of all, the airframes, an update on the airframes. We've received a letter on Infa-Aero letterhead from the management of Manaus Airport telling us that they still want to sell us NZC, the last remaining original Air New Zealand DC-8 airframe left on the planet, which has been derelict at Manaus Airport since 2004. They want to sell us direct NZC, and they've reconfirmed that they accept the price offer that we've made. They're just advising us now officially of a slight little delay at the very tail end of this process of getting to the sale, and that is this, that Infa-Aero is a government-owned company. And when the management sent through the details to the legal department to draw up a contract and start the real negotiations for the sale, the legal department have flagged an issue that could be a problem, and that is the method of disposal. Can they make a direct sale when Infa-Aero is a government-owned company and there are prescribed procedures for disposing of assets that have been caught up in bankruptcies and ended up in the possession of the government company? Procedures including, bidding and auctions and public notification. Now, I can tell you, Infa-Aero do not want to go anywhere near that because it stretches out the time frame, puts in unnecessary delays. They want to clear off this land where NZC is sitting along with a few other Hulk airframes, and they want to develop it ASAP. This will delay that effort considerably, potentially. Also, they're probably not going to get as much money from that process as our direct offer, and probably the only bidders will be us. And of course, we've got Cesar, our representative in Brazil, who can undertake all that sort of work for us. So either way, we're not in a worse position. We're just waiting for a legal decision, and that has to come from an official in the local judiciary. So really just a tick rubber stamp. The Infa-Aero management don't anticipate that things will change, and I can tell it's been a little bit of a curveball for them. They thought they had a sale ready to go, and they've gone to the legal department and said, make it so, but this has come up as a hitch. So we don't see it as a major. It's not a showstopper. It's a little frustrating because it's sort of slowed down the energy and momentum for this particular airframe. But the main thing is we have an offer on the table. It's been accepted. The management, the people who want to sell us the aircraft, are saying, we want to sell it to you direct. We're sorry about the delay. Here's now what's happening, and this is what we're doing to sort it out. So I'm quite relaxed about that. As long as the aircraft is not in imminent danger of being scrapped, I'm okay at the moment. It's not, so that's all good. So we just, tread a bit of water and just relax and be a little bit patient, and before too long that will sort itself out and we'll be able to keep on moving. Now, the 737 in North Carolina, we're talking with the company that owns that airframe. Isn't it remarkable that it's sort of come back from the dead? If you look at the previous video update, you'll see that the former ZK-NAD, the second 737-219 delivered to NAC. So we're talking before Air New Zealand domestically. This is NAC. This is really drilling back into our history. And coincidentally, NAD flew the first scheduled commercial domestic jet service in New Zealand's history. That makes it very historical from a transportation and social history point of view. So we're now talking to the company that owns that airframe. Most of the parts have been taken off, but the airframe is still intact. So it's just a matter of getting that airframe and then finding the parts, the non-flyable parts, and I don't think there are many 737-200s left flying in the world, but plenty on the desert floor, accumulating those parts. We already know of a JT8D engine that we can probably access to put back on the wing, which is fantastic. So we're in the price negotiation phase of that, and we're intending to very shortly make a trip over to Charlotte, North Carolina. The Laurinburg-Maxton Airport, where the graveyard is that NAD resides in, is about 20 miles out of Charlotte. I've been talking to the local aviation museum in Charlotte. It turns out that they have the Miracle on the Hudson A320 plane as their major display. Of course, US Air, the airline involved, was based in Charlotte. They've since been merged with another airline. And of course, the flight was heading to Charlotte. So we're talking with that museum now, and they're interested in what we're doing. So we're trying to think of occasions we can create when we go over there and really start talking about that airframe and get some footage of it and maybe that can help out in the negotiations and certainly get some local news coverage for what we're doing. So we're quite excited about that. So within the next 3-4 weeks, I'm expecting that we'll be there. Myself, Rex Stanners, our engineering consultant, and of course Jason Rhodes from the Transport and Toy Museum in Wanaka. And that brings me to that picture on the screen next to me. We tried to create an artist's impression of what NAD might look located at the museum. Some of you have taken it very literally and said, why are you going to put it outside? Can I say just now that these images are artist's impressions. Really the idea is so you can look at them and visualize, almost in a sort of a real look situation, how these artifacts could look. And the fact that they can be displayed in this way. And I think it's important for people to join those dots, but don't take them too literally. It doesn't mean that this is our plan to display it. Obviously, these are precious artifacts, and the aim is to have a roof over them. And it's interesting that the Queensland government have just provided the Qantas Museum at Longreach with $13 million to build a roof over their museum, which contains 2 707s and a 747. And that's a major investment in that museum. And when everything is said and done for the plan that we have, this attraction in Wanaka will be bigger than that. So you can see how it's valued in Australia. Of course, Qantas donate live planes to museums. We don't seem to be able to go towards that. I don't know why. It's just maybe the New Zealand psyche, which is a little disappointing. But don't get too caught up on the look of these impressions. We're not trying to, put these forward as final concepts. These are purely there to get you thinking and to get you to be able to visualize, to help you visualize, and help us visualize as well how these artifacts could look. DC-10, Mario, the ambassador from Cuba to New Zealand, has been in Havana, Cuba. He's still there now, coming back at the end of next week. And he made a commitment to us before he left that he would do all he could in the time that he had and the meetings that he'd had organized to further our effort to recover the DC-10 airframe. I'm going to be fascinated to have maybe a debrief with Mario not too long after he returns and find out where we're at on that. So that's still in train, and we're doing everything we can about the DC-10. Let's not forget NZS, the last remaining Air New Zealand DC-10 left on the planet, derelict at Havana, Cuba. Okay, so we're in Auckland Monday, Tuesday. We had a very good meeting with one of New Zealand's major freight forwarding companies with a global operation. We had a 2-hour meeting with some of their top people. It was a fantastic meeting. It's one of the best meetings I've ever had in the history of this campaign, and we're coming up a full year. It was just such a great exchange. And it's wonderful to sit down with people who are passionate about what they do. These people are passionate about transporting things anywhere you want to take them from or bring them to. And they can do. And what a business. Anyway, we had a great meeting. At the very least, we're going to get some incredible quotes from this company on transportation costs and a real understanding of what's involved there, the scale of it, what we need to do in terms of airframe preparation, dismantling, etc., to get the best options for transportation. It'll probably be a mix between, for the derelict aircraft, between containerization and roll-on, roll-off transport, all by sea. So a fantastic meeting, and we agreed to look at ways that we could enhance the relationship and sort of trade it up as we go. So I'm very confident that Bring Our Birds Home has potentially a very good transport partner, because one of the major efforts in this campaign is not to buy the airframes. Dismantling them is a big effort, but to get them back to New Zealand is potentially a big job. We're talking about big pieces of machinery here. So to have someone who really knows what they're doing and really into what we're doing is just so good. So I'm not going to mention that company yet because it's a bit too early, but I want to thank the people from them, Shannon, Mark, and particularly Henry, for putting us in touch. Henry's a great supporter of Bring Our Birds Home, for having the meeting, hearing us out, and being so positive and being so quick to come back with details. Just fantastic. I had a wonderful moment at Wellington Airport, and I think this is how you know you're getting somewhere. I went through the security to get my flight to Auckland on Monday morning. I think it was Rob, was one of the security guys. You know, the guys who wave you through the metal detector and then put the thing over you if you make a noise. And I went through, and I didn't buzz the thing or anything, and I expected to be, flagged through so the next person could come through. But he sort of called me over, Rob. He came up to me, and he said, "How you going with Bring Our Birds Home?" He says, "I've been watching this. It's fascinating." He says, "There's a lot of people in our business who want to see you succeed. I just want to tell you that." That was a great moment. Anyway, so that's the video update for today, and as soon as any new information comes through, I'll bring it to you. Thank you so much for supporting us. I won't hammer on about the Give a Little page right now, but I will be hammering on about it again shortly. We'll be needing to make that trip to North Carolina. We'll need to be accommodating 3 people in that. Also, we need to have enough money in the can to put down our deposit for NZC and to show a credible path to fully paying for that for Info-Aero. So I'm not going to bang the tin right now, but I will be banging the tin again soon. And we are talking now to people who potentially could come on board and help us in all sorts of ways. This video update's not about that, but probably the next one will be. In the meantime, though, thank you for supporting Bring Our Birds Home. And we'll be back as soon as possible with another video update.